I'm Renata Bernardi, and this is the Job Hunting Podcast, where I interview experts and professionals and discuss issues that are important for job hunters and those who are working to advance their careers. So make sure that you subscribe and follow, and let's dive right in. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Job Hunting Podcast. However, if you're new here and you just found us, welcome. Make sure that you subscribe and become part of this community of professionals who are very interested in career advancement, career progression, sustainability of their careers, and of course in getting that next job. In this episode, as you know from the title, I will be discussing 7 strategies to job hunt effectively and get your next job faster. Everybody wants to get a next job, but job hunting is often overlooked. And, there are so many great ways of job hunting alongside having a job. Or if you are currently between roles and you're unemployed, there is ways of you maximizing that time and power through and move forward very effectively. This month, I've had 3 clients who found new jobs, and I'm very excited for them. They're starting their jobs next week, and 3 in a row is fantastic for me. So I get really, really happy. It's such an amazing feeling for them especially, but also for me to achieve this much wanted result. And they are not just any jobs. These are cool, special opportunities that are aligned with my clients' career goals, and they are paying really well. And I like to think that I've had a hand in helping them, but I also have started to notice as my client pool grows that there are some common traits in the clients that get ahead and stay on course and speed up the results in their job searches. So I started noticing them, and I'm going to talk about some of these traits and behaviors with you in this episode. Sometimes it takes a while for a client to speed up, and that's okay. Careers are not linear, and stamina and motivation is also not linear as well. Sometimes we just can't get ourselves ready for the effective job hunting. And sometimes I have also noticed that many other things play up and impact the client's performance. It can be the client's health, it can be stress related, it can be family related. Sometimes the clients are just exhausted, from the work that they do every day, or even if they finish the work, they still have this lag effect of dealing with the exhaustion from their previous jobs. Sometimes there's a lack of focus, and it needs to be worked before we hit the road and start job hunting actively. Here are the traits and strategies that I have identified as successful in job hunting strategies when I work with my clients. So let's start with number 1. The clients that power through and move ahead very quickly are very inquisitive. They are more inquisitive, and by that I mean they ask me lots of questions. They question things. They do there more often than they make statements. I've started noticing this years ago, the difference between narratives and conversations at board level when I was a CEO, and even before I was a CEO, the difference between boards that ask lots of questions and boards that make lots of statements and, just want things done their way. And that's part of a generative board philosophy that started at Harvard. I studied there at the Harvard Kennedy School. And since then, I started noticing at the individual level that some people are more inquisitive and they inquire more than others. And that really helps with the learning, with the understanding of what's needed to learn something new, to activate muscles in their careers that they haven't used before. So what I mean by that is, if a client comes to me and they make a statement about how the interview often goes with them, and state as if it was fait accompli, this is how it is. It's harder for me to massage that and to work with the clients to make them see from a job interview from a different perspective. Whereas if they come to me and say, Renata, why does this always happen to me? Why is it that when I say this at the job interview, it seems like it doesn't work? It's easier for me to work with a client that understands that there is something there to be learned more than a statement that just says, oh, this is how it is. It always happens this way. You know how it is. And the fact is, I know that there's something there to be learned. So, it's just something that we need to sort of think about. I'm also policing myself all the time as well. I tend to be very talkative, and I made pact with myself, I'd say maybe 15 years ago, to listen more and to become more of an active listener. And I wouldn't be a coach today if I hadn't made that change in myself. So I know that people can change, and this is probably something to consider if you're struggling with your career, finding it challenging, finding that there are roadblocks, bottlenecks along the way of you getting your promotion or your new job. Start being more inquisitive, and that could help you. Number 2, my clients that do really well and power through seem to be okay with not knowing and happy to learn. One thing that is important to understand when you sign up for coaching is that coaching is work both ways. I will work with a client. There will be work for the client to do as well. I'm not just going to sprinkle some magic power dust on top of my clients and suddenly everything will go well for them. That's not how it works. It's actually quite the contrary. I will provide a roadmap for them to succeed, but there will still be work to do. The work will be more efficient because I provide a roadmap that has proven to be successful. And, if we agree that we will follow it to the best of our abilities, there is an expectation there that we will reach our goals, right? So knowing that is very important. Understanding how coaching works is very important. And the best way to think about coaching, in my view, is to see how coaches help athletes. If you think about, I often use the example of tennis because tennis is a solo sport, it's not a team sport, but you have competition. It's very elegant in the way that you observe the competition and you respect it, and there's a coach there in the box watching you play. And when the game is over, the coach is going to come and talk to you about your game, about your competitor's game, about the future stage of that competition, and what else you need to do to win that competition. And that's pretty much how we work. I'm going to be there, sitting there, observing, making strategic notes, letting you know how the game is played if you haven't played it before, or if it's been too long since you've played it. And you're going to be out there in the arena. You're the man or the woman or the person in the arena, as Theodore Roosevelt said. I'm happy to put that speech down there in the show notes for you to read because it's amazing, and you're going to do the hard work. So knowing that my client understands that, is happy to learn, and is okay with not knowing things, and understanding the partnership of a coach and a player is really important. Number 3, I have found that the best clients, the dream clients for me, are very disciplined, and I love it. I have to admit, when a client is disciplined and understands, the homework that needs to be done, I often send follow-up emails after our sessions, and if I'm doing group sessions, there is a very clear roadmap and an understanding of what needs to be done for the next session. It's really, really easy to understand. And doing that work really helps move us through step by step what needs to be done to reach the goal that you want, which is probably a brand new job or a promotion. So it's important to understand that motivation alone and also expertise alone won't get you the job. I have clients that are absolute superstars. They are, most of my clients, I can't think of a client who isn't, to be honest. I'm so in awe of the caliber and the quality of the professionalism of all of my clients. And it's wonderful to know that there are so many great professionals out there, and for an employer, when I wear my hat as a former employer of amazing professionals, I would be so happy to have any of my clients work for me. But motivation alone will not get you a job, and expertise and knowledge alone won't get you a job. Recruitment and selection is a game to be played well. Your cards need to be on the table at the right time. You can't anticipate moves. There are things that you shouldn't do early on that you should leave to negotiate later in the process. There is a discipline to be followed, and I teach that discipline in my group coaching and in my private coaching. So having that discipline is really important. Creating those good habits and carving out the time. If you're currently working, it is a challenge to carve out the time to include group coaching or private coaching. And we discussed that early on in the discovery session and as part of our first few coaching sessions as well. Number 4, we quickly develop a consistent message and brand. This is super important. If the client doesn't have a consistent personal brand yet, we develop one. If it's being challenged or if there has been any bridges burned along the way, we need to resolve that. We need to tweak it, enhance it, reinvent it. I love doing it. I've trained myself over and over in many different ways to support my clients in developing a very strong personal brand, and one also that is consistent over time. And this is something that takes time. It needs to be nurtured. It's like little seeds you plant, and you need to observe how they're growing. Some of them won't work, others will, and you need to always be analyzing this, reflecting and updating, renewing how you're showing up to your community of professionals, your employer, your boss, your colleagues. I love teaching this. This is one of the most interesting parts of my coaching. And developing that quick understanding of the importance of message and brand really powers through my clients and make them very successful. Number 5, working together, we look at understanding the need to connect and the different ways and channels where that can be done. So networking is a word that's full of meaning and full of feelings and emotions. And you know what? I think especially after this pandemic, we have so many different ways of connecting with our profession, with our industry, with colleagues. For example, I personally very soon this week will have a networking event with people from all over the world as part of my Harvard program. So it's a masterclass or a webinar that I'm attending, and I'm attending it live because I think it's important for me to have that. I've attended one last week as part of Watermark, which is an executive search firm here in Australia. I'm having a drink with a friend of mine who is in Ireland. You must know her if you follow this podcast. Her name is Marianne Rue, and I've interviewed her a couple of times for this podcast. I'll put a link below. And she's going to have a coffee and I'll have a drink, and we're going to have a conversation because it's been too long since we last spoke. And I will also be in the CBD here in Melbourne having meetings next month because it's been too long since I've seen some people that are important for my career, be it clients, be it colleagues or partners, business partners. I will have meetings with them, and I plan to fly to Sydney to do the same. So it's important to connect. If you're job hunting, it's important to stay connected and have a good hobo. Hobo is your home office broadcasting outlet. I've spoken about it several times, and if you can watch my video, you will see that I have a very good setup here, and I'm always helping my clients set up their hobos, because if you have a great hobo, there's so much you can do from home. You can do using LinkedIn, you can do using emails or phones, and then of course using your legs and just getting out of the house and catching up with people. Number 6, we understand the need to rest. Sleep and taking breaks from job hunting is so important. Sleep and rest days are powerful job searching tools in my views. Having that rest moves memories from your inbox to permanent storage. Okay, so if you think about that metaphor of things that you're trying to learn and remember about your career, preparing for job interviews, preparing for quick conversations on the phone with recruiters, if you sleep, if you're rested, they will come to you more easily, right? If you're not so stressed, you will think more creatively about your career when answering questions that are challenging at times. Busy clients take time off, and I've noticed this, that they either ask to slow down the coaching to cope with in career planning, job hunting, and their actual jobs, or they will say, look, I will have to reduce hours at work, maybe do a 4-day a week for a few weeks so that I can include coaching. So doing those strategies, everything possible to make the learning process sink in without stress or hurry is really important. And even if you are full-time job hunting, it's also important to think about taking time off, taking days that you're, just taking care of yourself and enjoying. When you find a job again, I always tell this to my clients, especially the ones that are in between jobs. I tell them, you're going to look back at this time and you're going to regret not making the most out of it. Sometimes a budget is an issue and finances are an issue, but just walking, just enjoying the weather, gardening, going out for free events. I'm about to go to the National Gallery here in Melbourne, and it's free and I love doing it. So anything that you can do to rest your mind is much, much needed. In fact, you will notice that in my newsletter, which I send every week, I have articles that are important for career enthusiasts and job seekers. And then I have another heading called Time Out, where I recommend music or movies or something else entirely that has nothing to do with job hunting. And I hope that you already signed up for my newsletter. If not, there's a link in the episode show notes, or you can go to my website, renatabernardi.com, RENATABERNARDE.com, and sign up for that newsletter because it's really good. It keeps you in touch with me and accountable with your career and your job hunting. Finally, I recommend that as number 7, that you get the help you need. There is no need to reinvent the wheel. There are techniques and strategies that propel you forward ahead of your competition. Teach them. Usually, job seekers, they spend weeks or months learning how to job hunt, learning by doing, which is not the greatest when you want to swap jobs quickly, leverage from the good job market that we have at the moment, or you don't like where you work. If you want that effectiveness, that really efficient way of job hunting, working with somebody like me can really help you. You are great at your job. There's no question about that. That doesn't mean that you're great at job hunting. If you work with somebody like me or find a professional that you trust, that can really springboard your job search, allow you to move forward without wasting time, and time is money. If you are listening to this episode when it's released in September 2022, know that I am about to reopen registrations for my group coaching program called Job Hunting Made Simple. For 7 weeks, you will work with me to get you ready for job applications, for job interviews, and ultimately to get your next job. You will also have your own crisp and clear career plan. You will know how to approach recruiters, how to pitch, how to network and job hunt effectively using all the tools available to you. Many of them are actually freely available, these tools. You just don't have access to them or haven't heard about them yet. I will help you learn how to take advantage of things like LinkedIn, like the tools that I'm mentioning. And I will also give you a whole range of resources, templates and tools and, things that you will have access for your life. It's a lifetime access to my resources, and that will all be yours. To learn more about job hunting and my group coaching program, I would love to invite you to attend my free job hunting masterclass that's happening on the 5th or the 6th of October. There will be 2 times available. Times and details will be described on my website, renatabernardi.com. So please go to the episode show notes for this episode to see the links to my website and go there and learn more. The masterclass is completely free, no strings attached, and I will share with you important information about the job market, trends in recruitment that I'm seeing, trends in how candidates are being selected and what employers want out of candidates post-pandemic. Those things you will not find anywhere. I save them for my free job hunting masterclass, which I only deliver twice a year. If you decide you're ready to invest in your career and want to join my group coaching program, this is a chance for you to ask me questions about it, to check my teaching style, to access special bonuses and benefits inside the group that I reserve for the people that attend the live masterclass. Like I said before, I will be teaching this masterclass at 2 different times, and this will allow you, wherever you are in the world, to be able to watch it live. But if you're not able to make it live, that's okay too. Please register anyway, and I will send you a link so that you can watch the free job hunting masterclass for a limited time only. I really look forward to seeing you there. Now, if you're listening to this episode months or years from now, please go to my website anyway to learn about my services and about the group coaching program, Job Hunting Made Simple. I offered it only twice per year, and you can register your interest so that the next time I offer it, I will be in touch with you and you will be able to sign up then. There may be other career services on my website that you can benefit from right now. So go to my website, renatabernardi.com. That's RENATABERNARDE.com. That's all for now. I hope you have enjoyed learning about the 7 strategies to job hunt effectively and how to get your next job faster. If there are other things that you want to learn from me, don't forget to follow this podcast. It comes out weekly, and it will be my pleasure to have you as an ongoing listener. Bye for now, and I'll see you next time.